It's time to get your news on. We are VK1WIA.
And getting it on this week, at the editor's desk, I'm Graham VK4 Baker. Let's get stuck straight into the news. And once again,
this is Wireless Institute of Australia Company Secretary Peter Clee, VK8 Zulu Zulu. A notice has been published in the November-December edition of the Institute's magazine Amateur Radio, calling for nominations from members for election as a member of the board of the WIA. 3 directors retire at the conclusion of the next annual general meeting, which will be held in May 2024, namely Lee Moyle, VK3GK, Chris Dimitrovich, VK3FY, and Stephen Green, VK2TSG. Each retiring director is eligible for re-election. A director must be a voting member of the Wireless Institute of Australia and must hold an Australian amateur radio licence and a company director identification number. A nomination form is available on the WIA website and at the link in the text version of this broadcast. Candidate information will be posted online and emailed to members. Members are requested to ensure that their email address is correctly recorded on the WIA membership register. Nominations received by facsimile, email or other electronic means cannot be accepted. That was authorised by John Marshall, WIA Returning Officer.
Thanks, Pete. Now, from the top end to a little further south, it's off to Tasmania and Indris, VK7ZIR, to tell us a little more about Alara, which is only 2 weeks away, the big Alara meet in Hobart.
We will soon be welcoming many Alara members and their partners into VK7 for the national meeting of Alara that occurs every 3 years. The last time it was in VK7 was in 2008 in Ulverston. It is centred on the Woolstore Motel in downtown Hobart and starts on Friday the 3rd of November with some optional activities including a pre-conference cruise to Peppermint Bay for lunch and the opportunity to attend the Tasmanian Symphony concert in the evening. On Saturday the 4th of November there is a welcome and trip to Salamanca Market. In the afternoon, there is an afternoon of sharing and meeting for the ladies, and the OMs head off to a Mystery History radio tour. There is a dinner with a wonderful guest speaker on the Saturday night. On Sunday, the 5th of November, there is a visit to the female factory in the morning, then a visit to Reist along with an Echolink Net Fox or native animal hunt, operating the club station with a special event call sign and the barbecue. In the afternoon there is a visit to historic Richmond and finishing with a dinner and another great guest speaker and awards. There are also a range of optional post-conference tours on the Monday. 73, stay safe from Idris, VK7ZIR.
Thanks, Idris. Now, Linda, VK7QP, will pop along from Alara a little further down the log. Let's have another look at wireless weather. Earth was hit by the largest ever detected solar storm 14,300 years ago. Ancient tree rings have just revealed. If a storm of a similar magnitude hit our planet today, it could have potentially catastrophic effects on our modern technological society. This powerful solar storm was identified by an international team of scientists studying ancient tree rings preserved in the eroded banks of the Druzet River near Gap in the southern French Alps. Extreme solar storms, known as Miyake events, are very rare. As far as we know, only 9 have occurred in the last 15,000 years. The most recent confirmed Miyake event occurred in 993 AD, and then again in 774 AD. But this newly identified 4,300-year-old storm is the largest ever recorded, approximately twice as powerful as these two and 10 times more powerful than the infamous Carrington event of 1859.
This is VK1WIA, the Wireless Institute of Australia's national news service, heard across Australia every week via relay stations such as the Mount William repeater in Western Australia on 146.9 MHz. The news can be heard in Mandurah at 9 a.m. every Sunday morning and can also be downloaded from the website www.wia.org.au at any time. The WIA website also lists the other rebroadcasts of the national news. I'm Mark, VK6QI.
From here, there and everywhere, you've tuned to the Wireless Institute of Australia's National News Service. We are VK1WIA. Now with international news, Jason, VK2LAW.
Hello, and our international news is with thanks to IARU, RSGB, RAC, ARRL, NZART, EHAM, Amateur Radio Newsline, RadioWorld.com, Hackaday, and the worldwide sources of the WIA. Leading international news from Region 1, the RSGB 2023 convention brought together hundreds in person and as well many more across the world who watched the live stream. RSGB General Manager and Convention Chair Steve Thomas, Mike 1 Alpha Charlie Bravo, said, "We saw presentations about taking amateur radio into schools, young radio amateurs travelling to YOTA camp, as well as the usual mix of fascinating technical talks about many aspects of amateur radio today. The Society will share a small number of convention presentations on YouTube over the coming weeks and will provide many more for members to view as part of the benefit of RSGB membership. In addition, you'll be able to watch a series of special interviews that were recorded over the weekend. The interview with the RSGB and IRTS presidents has been released, and you can see it on the RSGB YouTube channel and also on the RSGB Convention webpage." To news from Ireland, over the years we've reported on the passing of a few broadcasting technologies of yesteryear, such as analogue TV in Australia or AM radio in Europe. Now it's the turn of an early digital contender as one of the few remaining holdouts of old-style teletext is about to shut down its service. The Irish broadcaster RTE is to turn off its teletext service, which has been live in some form continuously since 1986. In an internet-connected world, it seems quaint that a limited set of curated pages could once have been such a big deal. But it's easy to forget that for many, the teletext system provided their first ever taste of online information. As it shuffles away, almost unnoticed, we won't miss counting through the page numbers cycling by in the top corner as we waited for our page to load. But it's worth marking its final passing from one of the few places it could still be found, Ireland. To news from Region 2, the AMSAT Board of Directors met October 19 in Dallas, Texas, in advance of their annual meeting and symposium. Since board members whose terms were expiring were all re-elected, the board was as previously constituted. Frank Karnauskas was welcomed as the new alternate board member. All officers were reappointed by acclamation. President Robert Bankston gave his president's report. His focus was on improving transparency and accountability between AMSAT leadership and membership. This would include better reporting of finances, better standards for publishing accomplishments, more attention to member services for member satisfaction, and redesign of the AMSAT website. AI-based weather service to cover USA. The use of AI-based content tools in radio broadcasting applications continues to proliferate. Westwood One and cloud-based technology supplier Super Hi-Fi announced an agreement under which Westwood One would market Super Hi-Fi's recently introduced AI-generated weather service. Super Hi-Fi describes Weathercaster as the only AI-powered audio-based weather report service for radio. Its content creation and audio production are fully automated. Weathercaster saves radio companies significant time and money and allows for incredibly high-quality localised weather reports to be included with every linear radio broadcast, the company says. Westwood One syndicated content is heard on 9,400 affiliated broadcast radio stations, as well as streaming and digital platforms. Weird and wonderful. Strange anomaly in Sun's solar cycle discovered in centuries-old texts from Korea. Aurora records in Royal Chronicles from Korea show that during the Maunder minimum between 1645 and 1715, the Sun's solar cycles became several years shorter than they are today. This new study, published October 3 in the journal AGU Advances, researchers analysed historic auroral records from Korea and found that solar cycles during the Maunder minimum were only 8 years long on average, 3 years shorter than the modern 11-year cycles. These aurora records were part of 3 separate books, chronicles written on behalf of Korean kings that contained detailed daily reports on royal business, state affairs, weather and astronomical phenomena that occurred within the Korean peninsula for close on 1,000 years, between 918 and 1910. For VK1WIA National News in Sydney, I'm Jason, VK2LAW.
Across Australia from VK1WIA, you're tuned to the WIA National News Service. On the Sunshine Coast, it can be heard from the following locations on our linked repeater system: Mullaney 146.850, Noosa Heads 146.825, Black Mountain Cooroy 146.975, and Echolink node 316084 or VK4WIS-R from 0900 local every Sunday. I'm Gordon, VK4VP.
Now, operational news with Felix, VK4FUQ.
Hello there. Ham Radio Operational News is a contact sport. Now, contest-wise, 2 for 2023 and 1 for 2024. 75th CQLY DX Contest SSB leg is this weekend, October 28-29, with the CW test November 25-26. Both legs run 0000 hours UTC Saturday, ending 23:59 hours UTC Sunday, using SSB on the 160 to 10 metre bands where contests are permitted. The exchange is Signal Port and your CQ zone. November, VHF UHF Spring Field Day, 25-26 November, 0100 hours UTC Saturday to 0059 hours UTC Sunday. But to make it a little fair in VK6, they add 3 hours on the start and end times. Australia Day Contest. This contest is to encourage amateur radio promotional activity around the world and is designed to encourage friendly participation and help improve the operating skills of participants. It is held on the Australia Day public holiday, 26th of January. Amateurs here in VK will endeavour to contact other amateurs around the world. Some VK operators will be using the AX prefix to celebrate Australia Day, as is wanted by many amateurs. Scoring is distance-based and calculated using 4-character grid squares. DX window. Botswana. Members of the Russian Day Expedition team will be QRV as A25RU from October 26 to November 13. Activity will be on 160 to 6 metres using CW, SSB and mostly FT8, with up to 9 stations active. QSL via LO2W. France. Active is the special call sign TM12 5ED. Between the 4th of November through to the 31st of December, marking the 125th anniversary of the public demonstration by radio pioneer Eugène Descartes of wireless communication between the Eiffel Tower, France, and the Pantheon in Rome, Italy. All CW and SSB logs will be confirmed automatically via the Bureau and EQSL. India. Special Event Station AT30IIH is QRV until December 31 to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Indian Institute of Hams. His focus is to train and bring young people into our amateur radio community. QSL via the Bureau. Taiwan. BM0 QSL until December 31 using mostly digital modes. QSL station BM0 QSO via BM2JCC. For VK1WIA National News, I'm Felix, VK4FUQ Inningham.
From here, there and everywhere, you've tuned to the Wireless Institute of Australia's National News Service. We are VK1WIA. Now, special interest group news with Cole, VK3GTV.
Hello, first up, Linda, VK7QP joins us as we start this week's Worldwide Special Interest Group news. And it's a little further re Alara Meet 2023.
Next weekend, 4th and 5th of November, we will be welcoming Alara members to Hobart for Alara Meet. It will be 6 years since we last got together, so there will be lots of stories to share. Thanks to ICOM for a great raffle prize and Reist for their support for the event. Looking forward to a great weekend. For those not coming to Alara Meet, you can still be part of it by checking into the Echolink net on Sunday the 5th of November. It will be on the Alara conference node at 11 o'clock Tassie time or 0000 UTC. Listen out for Shirley, VK5YL, who will be operating VI7 Alara. This has been Linda, VK7QP.
Thanks, Linda. Next, it's Worldwide Special Interest Group news, Parks on the Air. ARRL has a new book to help radio amateurs enjoy one of the fastest growing communities within the hobby, Parks on the Air, or POTA. The Parks on the Air book gives you a look at the setups and processes of 14 operators from a variety of skill levels and backgrounds, and offers advice and motivation for taking your radio out to a park. Setups cover satellite operating, QRP, urban backpack portable, wire antennas for POTA, and much more. Worldwide Special Interest Group's Final Frontier. 2 NASA astronauts aboard the International Space Station will conduct a spacewalk tomorrow, Monday, October the 30th, to complete maintenance activities at the orbital complex. The spacewalk is scheduled to begin about 8:05 a.m. and last about 6.5 hours. Live coverage of the spacewalk begins at 6:30 a.m. US ED time on NASA television, which can also be viewed on YouTube. NASA astronauts Jasmine Mogbeli, KI-5WSL, and Laurel O'Hara, KI-5TOM, will exit the station's Quest airlock to remove an electronics box called the Radio Frequency Group from a communications antenna on the station. US Spacewalk 89 will be the first for both. KI-5WSL will wear a suit with red stripes and KI-5TOM an unmarked suit. A further spacewalk is planned this month due to a leakage aboard. The ISS experienced another coolant leak, this time on a radiator circuit that is part of the Russian module. The crew and station are safe, and the spacewalk planned later this month will investigate the root cause. As always, if there's an EVA, a docking or an undocking, the ARIS radios are turned off as part of the safety protocol. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, IOTA. The logs for the IOTA Contest 2023 island stations have now been added to the IOTA database and are available for QSO matching. Record holders who've made IOTA contacts in an IOTA contest after 2023 can claim credit for them without submitting QSLs, providing that the contact details match. Go to iota-world.org, select Add Contest QSOs under the My IOTA tab, and choose either Upload Contest Log or Manual QSO Entry. Those instructions can also be found in the text edition of this broadcast at wia.org.au. Worldwide Special Interest Groups Maritime. National Maritime Museum of Ireland's Special Events Station EI80MB. The National Maritime Museum of Ireland Amateur Radio Club, in commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the extraordinary rescue in December of 1943 of 168 German sailors in the stormy waters of the Bay of Biscay by the 10-man crew of the small Irish coaster MV Curlog. They'll activate the special event call sign EI80MB between November 2023 and April 2024. Full details and updates are available on qrz.com. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Radio Amity Youngtimers, YOTA, Youngsters on the Air. And after a very busy Jota Jotty last weekend, Alec, VK2APC, joins us.
Thank you, Cole. It's no secret that the percentage of we young people who listen to radio has been on the decline for a decade or more. And while surveys repeatedly show that teens listen to music for at least 2 hours a day, they no longer tend to listen on conventional radio unless they're in the car with their parents. So in a world ruled by YouTube, iTunes and Spotify, can teens learn to believe that radio is kinda cool after all? That was the challenge Jim Tim, President and Executive Director of Nebraska Broadcasters Association, decided to take on. The idea: to partner with local schools to create stations on which students would choose to announce the songs, record news and sports features, and be heard by a potential audience all over the country. The stations would use automation but could go live in certain circumstances. The state association would lend the gear and software to a school. After students' time with the project ended, the school would ship the gear to the next participating school. Jim said, "So many students today are not even aware of broadcasting. We wanted them to see how much fun doing radio can be. Maybe a few of them will decide to be involved with media where they weren't before, and they'll discover radio can be cool." The initiative has now become a joint project of 2 U.S. state associations. For VK1WIA National News, I'm Alec, VK2APC in Sydney. Now back over to you, Cole.
Thanks, Alec. On to Worldwide Special Interest Group's Rescue Radio. On October the 8th, more than 140 amateur radio operators from 5 Midwest states assisted 2,000 volunteer medical personnel at the Bank of America Chicago Marathon. This is the 15th consecutive year that the amateur radio operators have helped coordinate medical responses and arrange for medical resupplies at the Chicago Marathon. About 49,000 runners entered this year's event. The citywide marathon uses 6 main repeater channels and deploys 4 temporary repeaters. New this year was official use of the Automatic Packet Reporting System, APRS, after organisers trialled it at their other events, including the Bank of America Shamrock Shuffle and the Chicago 13-1. APRS radios were deployed to amateur communication teams in Chicago's Grant Park after the race was finished. A total of 30 radio operators worked in various capacities before and after the race. Also, there were 100 ham radio operators stationed at each of the 20-course medical tents and the medical hub. In Forward Command, 10 amateur radio operators served as net controls, traffic handlers, logging specialists, and expediters. And that's the segment for this week. Catch you next time. I'm Cole, VK3GTV.
Who listens to radio?
This is Greg, VK2GPK.
Julie and Joe, School Amateur Radio Club Network, VK3SRC.
I'm Tony, VK7AX.
Hello again from Peter, VK4WIA. Coming to you again from Re-Engine and Turrbal and Niagara Country.
2023 social scene, and probably a look at 2024 as well. Now, clubs are welcome to submit text with audio for this section. Details of all WIA-affiliated clubs and societies can be found on the WIA website, including email addresses and website links. VK6 Perth Tech, it's happening this weekend. For all of VK, but being held in Hobart VK7, Alara Meet 2023, November 4-5 next weekend. VK3 Rosebud Radio Fest. This is happening at Eastbourne Primary School, Sunday, November 12. With more, Andrew.
This is Andrew, VK3CAH, from the Southern Peninsula Amateur Radio Club, reminding listeners that the Rosebud Radio Festival will be held once again this year on Sunday, the 12th of November. As usual, the event will be held at the Eastbourne Primary School at Allambie Avenue, Rosebud, with outdoor displays open from 8 a.m. and the main sales area open from 9:30am, continuing through till 1:30pm. If you have pre-loved equipment to sell, tables are still available at $10 and can be booked online at www.rosebudradiofest.com. But be quick, as only a few tables remain. 3 great technical forums will also be part of the Rosebud Radio Fest, and the event is fully catered, plenty of off-street parking and great door prizes. Entry fee is only $6 with under 12s free. See you in Rosebud on the 12th of November. 73 from Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew. Now to VK5. Amateur Radio Experimenters Group Radio and Electronics Sale, November 26. In VK3, it's Barg Hamfest, February 4. It's being held next door to Barg Club Rooms at Ballarat Airport, 10 a.m. on Feb 4. May 4 and 5 in Bundaberg VK4, the WIA AGM. And right across VK, National Volunteer Week, Monday the 20th to Sunday the 26th of May 2024. National Volunteer Week, NVW, is Australia's largest annual celebration of volunteers and their important contribution to our communities. Now, speaking of important contributions to our communities, we'd like you to submit news items. Yes, if you'd like to submit news items for possible inclusion in the VK1WIA national news broadcasts, please email your item in text to nationalnews@wia.org.au and don't just send URLs, links or posters. Take the time to pen your contribution how you'd expect to hear it on air. Now, to submit audio, and we'd much prefer you to submit audio with your text, email nationalnews@wia.org.au. And please, we would appreciate items certainly no longer than 1.5 minutes. Remember, the sooner you submit material, the more the likelihood of it being broadcast in the very next edition of WIA National News. Each recorded item will only be broadcast once. If you want a couple of mentions, please submit different slants to keep your event fresh. And always, if the newsroom is to read your items, write it in the third person. But first, if you're reading your own item, and if you are going to mention your name in the story, say something like, "I and myself, Pat VK11ABC, said such and such." We'd also like you to promote your local rebroadcast, and details are in the members section. Just have a look at members, broadcast and contribute. Now, a final reminder, when supplying Hamfest info, we don't plug deals from commercial traders on air, but we at the WIA will put your supporters' goods in this text edition, no worries. And we won't give blatant plugs to raffles, be it raffles at the event or online, but again, it will be in the text edition. And why should you contact us with your news? Because if it matters to you, it matters to us. Now till next we meet, I'm Graham, VK4BB. Walk softly.
This is VK1WIA. All points of contacts from today's news stories are to be found in print when you read the web editions. www.wia.org.au.
This has been the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
Courtesy of Bevan, VK5BD's ATV and YouTube channel, this has been WIA National News. We're back now, live and local, and your voice, your callbacks. And don't forget, tick like.